Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome to the first ever episode of Bewitched by Buffy, where we're going to be reading all of the Buffy and Angel comics that I can get my hands on. Recently I finished my Buffy rewatch, where I rewatched all of Buffy and Angel, and my mom watched it for the first time. And while I was doing that, I realized I never really finished the Buffy comics. And I never read the Angel comics. So starting today, we are going to be attempting to read all of the Angel and Buffy comics. This is going to take us a while. I'm going to be focusing on the Angel and Buffy comics on the weekends so that I can still read other things during the week, and then hopefully pretty much every Tuesday put out a new vlog for you. It will be spoiler filled because I feel like that's the only way we can really dive into these comics. And so for our first episode, we're going to be starting Angel After the Fall. Now, before we can actually dive into Angel After the Fall, we have to read a couple Spike comics first. So I think for today, we're going to be really focusing on Spike Asylum, Spike Shadow Puppets, Angel After the Fall Volume 1, Angel After the Fall Volume 2, and then I'm pretty sure we read Spike After the Fall right after that. And so without further ado, let's jump into the reading. Okay, so it is actually Saturday afternoon, and I'm thinking I can get a few volumes, I don't know how many I can actually do, in today before I officially start this video tomorrow. So you would have seen the intro already, but again, I think I can read some stuff. We're going to be starting with Angel After the Fall, which is by IDW. I never read any of the Angel After the Fall stuff when I first originally read Buffy comics and things. I think I knew it was out there, but I never read it because it was Angel and not Buffy. And from my understanding, this is supposed to be like the canon-ish continuation of the Angel TV show, which ends like almost like on a cliffhanger. Not exactly, it's more open-ended, but we need to read that. The thing is, we actually have a couple Spike comics to read first. We have Spike Shadow Puppets and Spike Asylum. I used to have a huge Spike collection, like an omnibus thing, and I feel like I've read these before. I don't remember. So we are going to read them. These are like prequels supposed to take place around Angel Season 5, and then I guess because they're listed as like important things to read, maybe some of the stuff or characters come in during Angel After the Fall and then Spike After the Fall. I don't know. We're going to have to see. But I just thought I'd let you know. We're going to start with these and go from there. Okay, so I have finished this one. I've had a little bit of a headache today, so I haven't gotten as much reading done as I really hoped. I still think I'm going to try and do Spike Shadow Puppets in a little bit, but I finished Spike Asylum. This is written by Brian Lynch, who actually I think has done all of Angel After the Fall and some other things potentially. And I'm pretty sure I've read this one. Did I remember much of it? No, but I'm pretty sure I read this one previously. So in all of my like stats and things, I'm saying it's a reread. I don't know exactly when this lands during the Angel TV show. From all of my research, it does seem to be around late season 5 in some way. And so this is more a read because you need some of the backstory, I guess, because it's the same author as Angel After the Fall. I guess there's things that are going to come in. So I liked this one. I gave it 5 stars. I do feel like my ratings with comics and graphic novels and things are sometimes like, just did I enjoy it or not? And I did enjoy this. It very much feels like an Angel type of show. I mean, like, it's a Spike comic, but like the characters feel the way that they're supposed to feel. The type of humor that they have in here is the right type of humor, you know what I mean? It does get a little bit dark, like a little bit bloody and gory, so just keep that in mind. But basically, like I said, we're in the end somehow of Angel Season 5. Again, don't know exactly when. And Spike is like at this demon bar, and when he's there, he sees like some stuff going down and goes to save this girl from a demon. But he actually gets picked up because he's a vampire with a soul and is asked to like help go save this girl, who is part demon, who's gotten picked up by like this place that's, they don't call it an asylum, but like, you know, that's sort of what it turns out to be. It's supposed to be a place that like helps supernatural creatures. And he doesn't really want to do it because he's like, no, even if I'm a vampire with a soul, I don't think I want to go somewhere that I have to like go infiltrate and be locked up and things like that. But of course, the people that found him actually thought he was Angel, and he just can't let that stand. So he goes into this situation. Now, like I think I said before, we're going to have some spoilers going on here because I feel like that's the only way we're going to really be able to do this. So it does turn out that when he is here at the asylum, he was lied to in order to get him there. They knew exactly who he was. The girl that is part demon who's trapped there doesn't exist, or at least I should say doesn't exist here. She did exist, but back when he was Spike, William the Bloody, and going on killing rampages because he didn't have a soul, he killed her back then. So this is probably like retribution for that. But while he's here, we have some like extra bad vampires that are trying to get him killed, and we have this like support group that he's in that has like a giant telepathic beta fish and an invisible man and a werewolf and a girl that seems to have powers, but like we don't really know much about her. She looks very normal. And there's also a demon woman who really wanted to be an actress, but she has like huge horns on her head and hasn't been getting jobs. Like, I love the sort of ragtag nature of the support group. But yeah, things are just going down in the asylum. There is like a breakout that tries to happen and things like that, and Spike ends up saving the day with his ragtag group of people, not without other bad things happening. But so like they have escaped. He also was able to use the psychic beta fish guy to tell Lorne where they were. Lorne was supposed to tell this like place that a breakout is going to happen, so we got to see him a little bit. Lorne apparently was in Las Vegas for some reason, and at the end of this, Lorne and Spike are together, and they're like leaving this situation. And I think right after this is where Shadow Puppets comes in, because I'm pretty sure, again, Spike and Lorne are both in Shadow Puppets. So again, I just really appreciated that. I love Spike as a character. He's my absolute favorite. And so like, I'm not mad to get like a Spike-centric story. And it's one that definitely feels like it could have taken place during Angel, or, you know, in this world. Like, it feels right to have this be here. A little bit darker than some things, but you know, I'm not gonna complain about it. I really enjoyed this one. So that's where we're at right now. Like I said, I'm gonna try and read Shadow Puppets tonight. If I do, I will let you know either tonight or tomorrow, and we'll jump into probably some After the Fall things as well, because that's our first like major story arc we need to do. So it is the very next day. I've actually filmed my introduction for this first video, so you guys would have seen that earlier, and now I'm debating how I really want to introduce it every single week, because we're going to be doing this project for a while. I think I mentioned before, probably until like the middle of October, but this morning, before I did pretty much anything else besides having breakfast, I did read and finish Spike Shadow Puppets. This is also by Brian Lynch, and is also sort of considered canon in these comics. I want to say I did not enjoy this as much as Spike Asylum. I do still think it was really fun. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think part of it is it's a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. They keep mentioning the like canon stuff, but they are using it as like an actual cannon that like shoots rockets and things. But they're doing it tongue-in-cheek meta sort of style for like canon of Angel and things like that. I like Smile Time, which is the original episode that this is sort of like a sequel to. The one where Angel turns into a puppet. It is hilarious. Spike's not in that episode as much because it's very much an Angel-focused episode, but they're taking the mechanics from that episode and putting them here into Shadow Puppets. Basically, Spike has been recruited to go save Japan and the children of Japan, because Smile Time has sort of moved over there to a Japanese TV show instead of an American one. Lorne is the person that brings the information to Spike, so he is in this one a lot more. And like I said before, this is supposed to take place very soon after Asylum. They mention, I think, that it was like 4 months in between the events of both comics. And so Lauren is going to be there with us. We do actually get to see Beck, who is the girl that has like fire powers from Asylum, but besides that sort of seems normal. I liked the addition of her in here. We have some instances of other characters from Asylum in here, so there is that overlap. You don't necessarily have to read Asylum, I think, to read this one, but it is more of a sequel that way because there are those characters that overlap. But basically, yeah, Spike and Lorne, and then eventually like Beck and things, are going to be in Japan fighting the puppets because Smile Time is now over there and trying to take over kids, and it's like a much bigger production. There are so many more puppets, and I think part of it is just, it's a comic, it's way wider in scope, but I don't think I liked it as much as Smile Time. I think that one was a little bit more concise with the like reasoning for things and the action and storytelling. And then I also didn't quite like it as much as Asylum either, because I feel like Spike's character really shone in Asylum, whereas we have a whole bunch of other characters that have a little bit more screen time in here. Screen time, it's a comic, but like not in a bad way necessarily, but I feel like for the vibes, Asylum is definitely darker and grittier, and this one is supposed to be more fun, but because of that, I do feel like Spike's character itself shone more in Asylum. I'm not mad at this. If I would have read this by itself, I don't think I would be comparing it as much, but because we're doing things back to back, and I really did like Asylum, I'm just gonna give it 4 stars. It is still very fun, and I think because I've been reading the like trivia, the like Easter eggs, the writer's commentary pieces for both comics, they do mention, I guess the artist on this one I think is the same artist as Angel After the Fall, and so they talk a little bit about like certain characters that were in these ones will show up besides Spike and Angel After the Fall as well. So I do like the idea of, I guess we had to read these ones to get some backstory for, I guess, some of the characters that are going to show up in Angel After the Fall. So yes, these are very solid. Very solid reads. Again, I'm pretty sure I've read them both before. Like I mentioned, I used to have a Spike omnibus that I got rid of before my move, I want to say. I had a few different like non-canon stories from the Buffy world, and some of those non-canon ones are just not as good, and the omnibuses are very, very thick, and I did get rid of them before I moved, and now like everything's out of print and expensive to buy. But yeah, these were very good. So what that means is we are officially going to be starting Angel After the Fall. So I have the whole thing right here, including Spike After the Fall, and from the things that I was reading online, I do believe we're going to be starting with Angel After the Fall Volume 1, moving into Volume 2, and Volume 2 feels thinner than some of the other ones in this series, so hopefully won't take too long, and then I'm pretty sure we move into Spike After the Fall right after these ones. So today is Sunday. It is almost lunchtime, but not quite, so I definitely feel like this is doable. So today's vlog that we're doing is going to be like the first half of Angel After the Fall, and then next weekend we will have to continue and see what happens. This should be starting off right after Angel Season 5, where basically everything has gone to hell. Wolfram and Hart, they've been kicked out, and there's like lots of demons and stuff coming down. Obviously, if you're watching these videos, I would assume you've seen Buffy and Angel and you know spoilers are coming, but yeah, we end that whole like season, that episode, with Lorne basically saying he's off the team and he's never coming back, so I'm curious to see if he is going to be coming back or not. Gunn is there but injured, Wesley is dead, Fred is Illyria, which I did not mention before, but that is definitely a thing, and Angel and Spike, Illyria, Gunn, those are the people that are like in this alley when all these demons and crazy things are coming down. And this is supposed to be like season 6 of the show. Canon, season 6 of the show. So I'm very curious to see what we're gonna do with this one. I have my backstory stuff done, so this is what we're doing next. not very far into this. But obviously, Angel after the fall. And like I mentioned earlier, we are coming into this like after the end of Angel the TV show. Season 5, stuff is going down, demons are everywhere, the kids are going crazy. And so they mention in here that there's like demons and things. Basically, after Angel stood up to Wolfram and Hart and the senior partners and things, they brought hell to Los Angeles. So like there's a picture in here of like the city with like a monster mouth. Can we see this? Like, so that's where we're at. Like, I'm barely into this. Angel technically saved somebody from some demons, and he's now partnered up with the dragon he wanted to kill in the TV show, which is interesting to me. But then we get here. And based on this picture here, I was like, is this supposed to be the Adam Baldwin character, the liaison to the senior partners type of thing? Because he does sort of look like that, but he has glasses. And then the demon says, Wyndham Price. So this is Wesley. Wesley died in Angel, season 5, last episode. Devastating. Cried, even though I've seen it before. But he's acting very cold, and he is the last official representative of this branch of Wolfram and Hart. So I'm assuming he's something like Lila, because once she was killed, she was still there in Wolfram and Hart until they took over, and then she just never came back. But like, she was still contracted with them. I have not read further than this page. Is he still contracted? But like, why? He looks like he went back to like Buffy Wesley, like very prim and proper and not the good character development we saw throughout Angel. So I'm very concerned is what I should probably say. Huh, okay. Oh, is that Gwen? Is Gwen back? Okay, sorry. And Nina. Okay, I'm liking the full-on callbacks to some of the characters that I really enjoyed that were like side characters. So Gwen didn't show up as much in season 5 of Angel, but she was in like season 4 a little bit more. I really enjoyed her. And then they just showed Nina here as well. So we're getting some characters that definitely had some parts. And okay, and Connor. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off for now and just read more unless I think of something else, because I'm barely into this. But so far, we're definitely getting characters that are like big characters. And I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I feel like this is supposed to definitely be like the next season. Like this is what they wanted to do, I guess. I should have been filming. Still, not that far into here. But they keep throwing things at me. Gunn is a vampire? When did that happen? Like, he was just saving people from other monsters. I don't know what to think. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna keep reading, but like, this is, I don't know how many months after the end of the TV show. Let's just assume it's something normal for like a TV show where they end in the spring and then you have to wait until the fall for it to come back. And so like with Buffy and Angel and things, they usually have like a 3-month break or whatever in between. So let's say it's been like 3 months or so from the end of the show to this. Wesley died, but now he's back. Some sort of ghost thing or something in Wolfram and Hart, and he's not acting normal. And then we have Gunn, who is apparently a vampire and not acting normal. Angel is still trying to save people, but he's dealing with demon kings and stuff. I don't know. Again, I don't know yet. And then Lorne left at the end of season 5, so I have no idea if he's going to show up or not. But we haven't seen him, obviously. But I haven't seen Illyria either. and she was definitely around at the finale. And then we haven't seen Spike yet either. I know Spike has Spike After the Fall, and I'm wondering if like that's his part of like what's going on here, and maybe he'll come back in later. But I'm suspicious that we haven't seen Illyria yet either. You know what I mean? But like, they just threw so much stuff at me, and I don't even know how many pages it's been. That was chapter 1. I finished chapter 1. I have officially now to start chapter 2. But like, what is going on? Okay, I'm still in chapter 2 here. But we're figuring out all the things that are going on. Gun's the bad guy because he's a vampire? We don't know the backstory on that yet. But we are now finding Spike, who is in this very beautiful place, very different than the hell that is Los Angeles, with like women in bikinis and things, which is interesting. We're gonna continue, but like everything about this right now is just like blowing my mind, and I'm having a really hard time not like looking ahead. Yeah. And I've reached the end of chapter 2, and Illyria's here. Finally. And she mentioned that Spike is her pet. Which, I mean, she asked in season 5 if he could be her pet. And it seems like they're at least in the same area together, and she's like sort of like bodyguard / he's her pet. I love that. Okay, continue. Okay, we're about halfway through now, and we're just getting into like, here's a bunch of demon lords that have different places in LA, I guess. Yeah, peekaboo. Peekaboo. And I just find it super funny because they're showing us like the different demons. They're having like a meeting about Angel killing a different demon. And there's like the Lord of Burbank, Lord of Compton, Lord of Century City, Lord of Downtown Los Angeles, Lord of Santa Monica, Lord of WeHo, and Lord of Sherman Oaks. And they're just like a bunch of different demons. But yeah, we're about halfway through now. Still really enjoying it. But yeah, everything that I mentioned before, we haven't really had a ton of answers yet. At least we're seeing more people. We found Illyria, we found Spike. We know they're around here somewhere. So yeah. I really should just keep this thing on most of the time. I've been trying to keep it on more, but like there's kids in here and I don't want this to be super long to edit. Hi. But I just finished chapter 3. Yes, I see you both back there. And Angel says, if I were still a vampire. They're just changing everything on us. Again, I told you this was going to be spoiler filled. There's no other way to really dive into everything like this. But apparently he's not a vampire and Gun is, and there's just so much stuff going on. I don't even know where to begin. So far, again, I'm like halfway through this. Loving the journey. Like, I can't imagine this being a horrible rating, but like, my goodness. Reading some more, obviously, but I love how we have like the hell part, and then we have Silver Lake, which is like very colorful, and they have like fairies and stuff. Oh, and it's because Lauren is here. Okay, I'm glad he is here because I was concerned a little bit that we wouldn't see much of him because he left in the finale. So apparently the Gruselug is here too, in Lauren's little area. I'm loving this, I have to admit. So, again, loving this. We're at a point where Angel is having to take all the like lords down, basically. He invited all of them to a duel. him versus all of their champions, because of course they're not going to fight themselves. And he's human. He's not a vampire anymore. And we're at the point where it's like he has to do all this by himself, and he's gonna be in trouble. Wesley got yanked into whatever plane of existence the Wolfram and Hart stuff is, finally got out of that, and he was gonna be like, let's go rally the troops and get everyone together and help Angel, because I guess Wesley's not really bad. He's just like, Wolfram and Hart is making him be their face to sort of torture Angel a little bit, because of course that's what Wolfram and Hart does best. But before he can really even do that, everyone is fighting there already with Angel. They came to help him. So we have Connor and Gru and Spike and Lorne and Gwen and Nina, from what I can tell in here. And what I think is really funny is Lorne, like I giggled, he was saying that he's a lord, so he was allowed to enter a champion, and he entered himself, and he said, full disclosure, I can turn into a whole gaggle of different people, even an angry Brit, and a what's that over there, an electric girl? I used her for the grand entrance. And I'm just like, he's trying to say he can be Spike and Gwen and everybody. That's just, it tickled me a little bit. We are so close to being done now. Wesley showed up, and Spike just realized Wesley's there. Apparently, Angel did not tell anybody that Wesley was a thing, and he said, you're intangible. Was it an amulet? No, not an amulet, but that's very funny. Okay, we finished it. But Spike was officially at the end talking about Wesley and things, but also was talking to Angel about how he's there because he also needs help with Illyria. And then Illyria saw Wesley and turned into Fred. Does this mean it was actually Fred? Is this the stuff that's going on with Illyria? I'm very, very curious. Okay, so that is volume 1 of Angel After the Fall. Very good. 5 stars. Like, it had me hooked from the beginning. I don't think I've talked as much during a reading vlog about what I'm reading, especially something like this, a graphic novel comic thing that obviously I should just be speeding through in a while. Like, this was very good, very wild and crazy, and I do think this format is good because I doubt they would have been able to take it this far with this many different demons and things in the show. I definitely need to see what more is coming, and we're going to be trying to read more today, obviously, as well. I think we'll take a little bit of a break because the kids are in here and they probably want to do something else than just listening to me talk about this, but like, I need to know more. Okay, little change of scenery since Presley over there has stolen my spot where I was reading volume 1. I came and put everything in my spreadsheet, so I have a record of stuff because I'm not actually putting any of my ratings on these on Goodreads or Storygraph or anything right now since we're doing the vlog, and because I'm reading them so quickly. But we are going to be jumping into volume 2, and I was just reading the back a little bit because I have no idea, like the summary for any of this stuff. I just know it happens after the show. But this is called After the Fall First Night, and I was very intrigued, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna read the back. Apparently this is going to have more like short stories about what happened that first night Los Angeles turned into hell. Obviously this looks like Wesley on the front, and so I was looking also in here, and it has a bunch of different artists and things. It looks like it is still scripted by Brian Lynch, who is the person that did the other Spike comics and the beginning of Angel After the Fall. So we're gonna have a story about Beta George, who was a character that is a beta fish and telepathic that was in Spike Asylum originally, and we've seen him a couple times. Then we have Spike, Connor, Lorne, Wesley, Kate for some reason. I rated all the Buffy and Angel characters recently, and she was like at the very bottom of the list. But then we also have Gwen, Civilians, and Gun. I'm very, very curious to see where we're gonna go with this. There is also a like Grusa blog, which I think is hilarious. It seems a little bit long, but I almost feel like I should probably read it. It's like the note on like everything that's gonna happen, I think. So it says, Grusa blog, 7/17/08, because this was written in 2008. Current mood, heroic yet recap-ish. Greetings, fair denizens of cyberspace. It is Grusalug, survivor of the scum pits of champion of Pylea, proud originator of the 4,545th most popular weblog in all the land. Watch your back, Britney fan 2005, for I am rapidly gaining on your numbers, and sinewy forced to redub yourself Defeat fan 2008. So it is blogged, so shall it be. I was updating my Wikipedia page. Simple note, historians of the web, it is Grusalug, not Grusalog. Know it well. When I received a cyber parchment from man-woman Chris Ryall of IDW, and he spelled it EYEDEE, and then double YOU. That's IDW. Apologizing on assumed knee for lack of inclusion in the main story of the second volume of Angel After the Fall, and requesting that I recap all that has gone forth previously to help the confused reader. Yes. I mean, I'm not exactly confused, but yes, volume 1 was a lot because we did not get to know a ton of stuff that happened previously. I laughed to myself a hearty chuckle because apologies were not needed. Certainly my exclusion in this, you'll notice, much smaller volume, less Grusalug translates to less mass and less excitement, was quite obviously so ladies and Ryall-esque man alike could recover from what is heretofore known as Gru-induced vapors. As for recapping, of course, I shall recap in such a way that you believe this story has never been told until the recap. The recap shall replace actual events, and actual events shall now be known as foreshadowing the recap. Brace yourself for the recapping. Lantern Jaw, Hero Angel, and his band of not even close resembling merry men had incurred the wrath of evil law firm and so much more, Wolfram and Hart. Wolfram and Hart had sent an army to throw down in glorious battle with them in an alleyway. There was much fighting and bloodshed. Soon after, Angel and his followers were tossed, along with all of Los Angeles, into hell itself. Much fighting and ghosting did occur, ending with the group being reunited. Only now Gruslug is at their side, so they shall most certainly win the day, or night, as it may be. But before you know where you're going, you must know where you've been. What on that first night in hell? How did Angel's cohorts react to a city gone straight to hell? How did they spend their first night? Behold, Angel After the Fall first night has begun, and ended in the very same book. That is convenience you can depend on. I must take leave of you now, for the Domino's man is knocking at my door with promises of a great feast for an affordable price. He shall bring cheesy bread, lest he know what true vengeance means. This blog is over and done with. You are welcome. Hopefully it has made you think, made you cry, and mostly made you lol. Long for Grusalug out loud. I am disabling comments for now because I tire of that awful Tyrannosaurus Sex 69 Forever's disparaging remarks about my punctuation. Grusalug, listening to cries of my enemies, squeals of lust from the local townswomen, also Coldplay. Just thought that was interesting. But yeah, so hopefully we're going to get, I guess, short stories, because that seemed like quite a few people that we're supposed to be following in here, detailing what happened that first night. I'll see how often I feel like I need to let you guys know what's going on. Okay, I moved again, but I literally finished talking to you and read Beta George's story. It's one page. Basically, he was at an amusement park jumping out of water and stuff. Like, it sounds like he was working there when the hell stuff happened. And he ends his thing by saying, admittedly, other people's stories might be a little more interesting. Like, he literally is just one page and done. So, moving on to Spike. Okay, so we just finished Spike. These are very short. This was like a few pages. We start off with him in the alley, bloodied from battle and things. And it immediately switches to this hell, Los Angeles. So I'm very curious to see about that, because like that was something that we didn't see in the show. It's just something that we came to know through Angel Volume 1 that it had happened, but we never really got to know like the gist of it. And so when he is in there, he is like now like, oh, okay, I'm in hell. I'm going to retire. I don't want to be fighting all this stuff anymore. But of course, he almost immediately has to save people. And it's Spike who is like doing it reluctantly, but like knows that he needs to do it anyway. And he finds Fred. But then it turns out pretty quickly Fred is actually Illyria. And so he must have been with her for a while, like since this first night, because we still don't know about all that whole situation. But we just found out a little bit about it at the end of Volume 1. So again, very curious. Okay, third story was Connor. Very interesting. It starts off when he's leaving Wolfram and Hart. In the last episode, he did show up to help Angel a little bit, and then he left. as soon as he sees the dragon, he's like, nope, I need to go help Angel. And it would be cool to slay a dragon, which I just thought was sort of funny because in the last episode of Angel, Angel really wanted to slay the dragon too. Later, obviously in the comic, we find out the dragon is actually on Angel's side. I guess he didn't realize what he was getting into with Wolfram and Hart. So he's like on Angel's team. We've seen him a few times in Volume 1. I just thought that was funny. In the middle of running back toward Angel, they're in hell. And so he is now like captured by a group of demons, and it says to be continued. So I'm assuming maybe in here somewhere it'll be to be continued. But he was having a lot of internal monologue about dads, because like when he got transported into hell, apparently he like fully got some of his memories back. So he was talking about like Angel versus his second dad, which was Holtz, and then like his third dad, which is the one that is his like magical surrogate dad sort of thing. So yeah, I think Lorne is next. Lorne's story is told in verse because why not have it rhyme? It's sort of like a little fairy tale sort of situation. He was walking around in hell, and then he goes to Silver Lake. He sees people helping fight the demons, and so he helps them with his high note that he does. And a sorceress makes it sort of like a haven, like a bubble, you see. And I did like the juxtaposition of the colors in Volume 1, like when they finally get there. But so he basically is just now in Silver Lake, not going out into hell. I don't remember who's next. Oh, it doesn't have a name. Curious. Okay, let's see. Okay, it was a short aside with Beta George. So I'm assuming maybe we're gonna get a little bit of him throughout, because those parts actually seem like stuff that's happening during Volume 1 or maybe after Volume 1, whereas everything else are like the flashback stories. And it looks like Wesley is coming up next. Okay, we're back again. Everything is very, very quick here. So Wesley, he died, obviously, in the end of Angel Season 5. When he wakes up here, it looks like heaven with Fred there, but he knows very quickly it is not. And they're basically telling him that he needs to go back and be their agent for Wolfram and Hart and watch Angel and make Angel stay in line and things like that. And then they show him going out into like the hellscape and things. And this person or entity that is looking like Fred is talking to somebody else, but we don't get to see them. We really can tell what it is different because the font is like when the person is talking to her, it looks different. And that other font person says that Wesley has no idea why he's there. He can't, but he's the key to all of this. Wesley is the reason we'll win. I'm assuming maybe there's some sort of senior partner situation. I don't know, but apparently Wesley is a big key. Okay, so our next story was Kate, which actually was Connor as well, because she basically saved him from the demon army thing. She has like buku shotguns, and takes him to this like place where there was a lot of weapons and things. I guess her dealer left or something, I don't know. But so she wants to go cause havoc with the demons and stuff, and she leaves him there. But yeah, I don't know if she's gonna come back, because like I have not seen her. She was not in Volume 1 of this or anything, but she saves him and takes him, and apparently doesn't know that he's related to Angel in any way. And then it looks like we might have some more Beta George next. And Beta George was again very, very quick, but there was a vampire guarding him, and so Beta George is like trying to escape a little bit. We'll see, but obviously he's telepathic. And basically the only real interesting piece is that like the vampire is part of Gunn's crew, because they're the people that took Beta George. And he was saying something about like how Gunn has been training him, and Beta George said something like, "What's a slayer?" So apparently there's some vampire slayer stuff potentially going on. We haven't heard much about the slayers yet. Okay, our next story was Gwen. Hers I really liked getting, because she's a character that I really liked from the series, even though we didn't get like a ton of her. And basically she's out sort of on the beach with a guy. Nothing too crazy, but like she can touch people now. She's not shocking people because of the whole like thing that she stole with Gunn. But when hell comes, she no longer has that damper on her powers. So she cooks that guy to a crisp, and is very devastated by the whole just like knowledge that her powers are back, and like immediately, and now she's dangerous again. I liked her story a lot I like that she's in After the Fall. I need more. Okay, I think our second to last story was Civilians, which was fine. I don't know. It was interesting. It was about this guy who kept saying the end was going to be near, and then obviously the end happened, and that was sort of all it was. It was fine. It was fine. I don't think we're going to see him again. And then it looks like we have Gun left. I don't know if there's going to be more Beta George or not, but we definitely have Gun. Okay, and like that, we are done. Gun was the last one. No more Beta George. I guess we'll have to wait for more Beta George in volume 3, but we're going to have to read Spike After the Fall first. But we definitely got why Gun is a vampire. He, I guess, got injured during the whole alleyway fight. Like, he literally is missing an eye and was, like, really, really injured. Angel was going to help him, but had to get the dragon out of the control of whoever was controlling it. It was, like, some sort of ogre or something, I think Gun said. Was able to do that, but then didn't turn back around towards Gun. I don't know if he was going to, or like how. I think there was somebody thinking about Spike, in Spike's story, when he got dropped from the alley into hell, he was thinking about Gun. He called him Charlie. So like, we know that that was like around the same time a group of vampires took him and changed him. He is a little bit in denial about it at first, like in here, because he doesn't want to be a vampire. He doesn't want to be a monster. But now he's really mad at Angel because I think at one point he says like he was there because of him and then he got left behind. So he's a little bit angry about stuff, but he is also a vampire, which I'm assuming means no soul because yes. And so that's sort of what it is. The thing is, though, the only thing is he was completely missing an eye before he got changed into a vampire. And then they show him with a scar. And I noticed that in volume 1 as well. But I'm just curious if that means like the vampirism made him regrow the eye, but he still has the scar. Because I mean, like, obviously Spike has a scar in his eyebrow, but that was something that he got after he was a vampire, and then it just like healed like that. But yeah, okay. We're officially done with After the Fall, volume 2. I want to say this was still really good. Not as good as the first one, and I think mostly it's because it is more short stories, but this is definitely needed because I needed the backstory of what happened previously to volume 1. But like, I still liked volume 1 better. I don't think this is necessarily bad. I'm gonna say 4.5 because I don't think I can say it was like a full 5, but it's definitely important stuff. Like, I definitely needed to read this and know what was going on. I don't know if it would have been better if it was put before and maybe not as many short stories or whatever. The reveals in volume 1 were crazy, obviously. But yeah, good. Still very, very good. And then, like I said, we are now going to be moving on to Spike After the Fall. But again, we might take a little bit of a break or something in the meantime, but I'm definitely planning on finishing out this vlog today, at least, with Spike After the Fall. And then next weekend, next vlog, we will finish out the complete After the Fall series. Okay, it is like 10 p.m. The kids have gone to bed finally. They were fighting it tonight. This summertime thing where the sun is out super late. Not loving it a lot. I do think it's been going down a little bit sooner than it used to. So like, we're getting to the end of that, but like, yes. We're on Spike After the Fall. I have not read this yet, especially since there's been so much other things happening with the other volumes that we had. But yes, this is going to be our last one for this vlog. I'm very excited. A whole book with Spike, I'm assuming, as the main character. Let's see. Okay, very much in the beginning, but it says the events in this book take place before Angel After the Fall. Spike helped Angel bring down the circle of the Black Thorn, thus incurring the wrath of Wolfram and Hart. That's from the show. This led to Wesley's death, Gunn's mortal wounding, and a bloody brawl with Wolfram and Hart's army of ogres, demons, and other assorted creatures, including a dragon. Moments into the battle, there was a flash of white light, and in an instant, all of Los Angeles had been transported to hell. Angel and his friends were separated. Spike, transported to the roof of a skyscraper, was elated to survive yet another battle to the death. Feeling he had earned his happy ending, Spike declared himself retired from fighting the forces of evil. That was in the last Angel After the Fall, like the little short story. It was very short-lived. Hell got even better for Spike when he spotted supposedly deceased friend Winifred Burkle seemingly free of Illyria. But then, citizens of Los Angeles were being overwhelmed by demons coming out of the woodwork, and 2 minutes into his retirement, Spike got back into the game, saving civilians with Fred at his side. A demon got the drop on Spike, and before Spike's eyes, Fred turned back into Illyria and saved him. So I'm assuming, based on that, and the fact that this, I'm assuming is supposed to be Fred, that's where we're starting. So this is after the event of, in volume 2, like the short story of how they got into hell with Spike. So that makes sense of why we're supposed to read this now. But technically it takes place before volume 1 of Angel After the Fall, which also makes sense because that was like our first major jump into this with so much crazy stuff going on. Like I think they did a good job making that volume 1. So now let's get into this before we, I guess, get into the rest of Angel After the Fall. Okay. Sorry, there was just a little line that said the vampire talks too much. There's been, I think, many people that have said that about Spike in the Buffyverse. I think this is going to be a fun one. We just had a little scene of Spike and Illyria fighting, and they saved a kid, and Illyria said, "This one is wet on both ends. We should end him." And Spike said, "End him? What is wrong with you? Give me that thing." They're talking about a human child. This is going to be fun. I think this is going to be very fun. Okay. Okay, we've been reading for a little while, and basically all we really know about the Spike, Illyria, Fred thing is Illyria does keep turning back into Fred. And it's a very big juxtaposition of like how she's acting toward the humans and things that are around here. And every time she seems to turn into Fred, which has only happened a little bit, Spike makes her turn back into Illyria in some way. They're sort of hiding out at an amusement park, so he locked her like in a ride and turned the ride on and it made her Illyria. I don't know. But it's interesting that way because he's talking to a different character and he says that the reason he does that is because humans feel pain, whereas like him as a vampire wouldn't really feel the pain. And so for Fred to survive, she needs to be Illyria right now, I guess because they're in hell. And then we are now getting obviously backstory of where he ended up in volume 1, and there's this girl with these spider legs that just popped out. Well, in volume 1, Spike is in this, like, I think I showed you a little bit, area, this house with like a bunch of women in bikinis, and he kept mentioning one, which I guess is like the main one, named Spider. Well, this makes sense. I'm pretty sure that is Spider. They're in like more commando gear, not just her, but like the rest of them, versus bikinis. So I'm curious to see how they ended up that way. So like I said, we're in this area with all these like dominatrix, sort of Amazonian women, demon women, because obviously one looks like a spider and things. There's one that is obviously like the main one. I think her name is like Non. I think that's the full name, N-O-N, has like these spike sort of things on her arms. And she has taken all of the people that Spike was helping, and Spike and Illyria, into this area, and she's going to kill them. Spike is now trapped. Illyria is somewhere else, potentially trapped as well. I think they're basically killing all of the actual human people. Like, they look disgusting. I will say the actual art style of this, I think it's the same as the other Angel After the Fall stuff. I think it's done by like Frank Uru. But it's gross. This demon woman, her power, is not so good. So it's not looking good for these people here. Obviously, we know some of the women from the first book. So I'm very curious to see, like, how is this going to keep going? Because literally, we know Spider. We've never seen this other demon woman, but things are looking dire in general, and she just got back from apparently killing slayers. I don't know what slayers, especially because this is like set right after Angel season 5. There are slayers and things out there, but like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with like that side of the world, so. And it looks like Gunn is here talking to her, working with her. I don't know what's going on. Kissing? Actually, Illyria kissed him for some reason. To make her his priority again. I mean, he has definitely been concerned about her, mostly because of the Fred part, but like, what is going on? I know it was like an episode of Buffy near season 6 or something, I think it was, maybe early season 7, where somebody was like, the relationships are a little bit mixed up and convoluted and stuff, because it was like Spike and Buffy and Xander and Anya, and like, obviously, that's how I'm feeling right now. What is going on? Okay, and now Connor is here. And Spike says, hey, isn't that Angel's kid? I like that we're pulling in these characters that like we didn't get to see maybe as much in season 5. They're definitely showing up more in this. And I do feel like this was a very important thing to put in with the Angel After the Fall. Like, technically it's not the part of Angel After the Fall series, it's Spike After the Fall, but I think because of that whole After the Fall aspect together, it does tell you, you probably should read this one. I'm glad we are. And just like that, I have finished Spike After the Fall. I'm giving it 5 stars. This was very, very good. I really liked getting to know how Spike ended up where he did in Angel After the Fall. This was a tough read at times. Connor shows up and is helping them out, and Illyria is back and forth between her and Fred. They eventually do kill Non. Spike takes her out. But Non, like I said, eats people, like turns them into like corpses and things, like takes their power when she's injured. And there was a guy, human, that was sort of like Spike's backup guy with all of the humans he had saved, who, when they went into hell in Los Angeles, he was supposed to be on a drive to San Diego to go propose to his girlfriend and didn't make it out of the city. Illyria killed him so that Non couldn't use him for power, and doesn't understand why she should not have done that or should have found a different way. And so even though Spike is there and like doing everything that he's doing for Fred, there's this kind of stuff happening. Very like hard stuff. Like, he doesn't understand what's going on with Fred and Illyria. We don't understand what's going on with Fred and Illyria. And that kind of stuff happens. And so even though that they defeated Non and everything, every single human apparently that was with Spike died. So that is why we now have this like pact thing between him and Connor in Angel After the Fall, where Connor is sort of leading more of like a human sanctuary base, and both Angel and Spike in Angel After the Fall, when they save people, they like send them to Connor. And so that is the reason. Spike does not want to have those humans around Illyria. So right now he is in Beverly Hills. I think they're now the Lords of Beverly Hills, that's what it was, with where we sort of ended up with Spike the first time, like where we found him, where they're in this house and all the women that were warriors were only warriors because of a demon that could control them. And that demon obviously got taken out so that they could win the fight and things. So now these women don't really know how to fight. So Spider is there. There's some other people. I think they're mostly demons, not just like humans or anything, but they're all women, and they're all in bikinis now for some reason. I don't know the reasoning for that. Hopefully it's just because they want to, but like when we first got into Angel after the fall and saw Spike, it was a weird juxtaposition to see the hell stuff and then to see Spike in sort of like a mansion with a bunch of women in bikinis. But hopefully that's their choice. And that's the end of Spike After the Fall. Like I said, I'm giving it 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this one, even though this was a tough read. I feel like in general, the After the Fall stuff, the being in hell stuff is going to be a tough read. I'm super curious about the whole Fred and Illyria stuff. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but next weekend we will jump into more Angel After the Fall. We will actually finish Angel After the Fall, and I'm very glad that we're reading this. Like I said, I've never actually read the Angel stuff. I've read a lot of the Buffy stuff, like season 8, 9, 10, etc. But I've never read the Angel stuff. And so far, I'm really, really enjoying it. So yeah, that is going to be it for me today. Like I said, we will definitely do more next weekend and for many weekends in the future with this Bewitched by Buffy series that I am trying out. Basically, we're just going to read everything I can get my hands on. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this and you'll stick around for the ride. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up to let me know, and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to continue watching these videos. I have videos coming out every Tuesday, which is now going to be Bewitched by Buffy, Thursday and Saturday. So I will see you then. Bye!